Hi, this is Visual C++ who wants to be a millionaire tutorial. Let me show you guys how it works. Right here I have a control button or a trigger button. If I click on that, that triggers the first question out. There, that's the right answer. Click on the button again. Now you have £100 in the piggy bank. Second question, you now have £200. Third question, supposing you don't know this question and you intend to phone somebody. There, Jerry. Okay. Well, Jerry doesn't seem to know the answer neither. So let's call the people. We'll go for 50-50. There. See, two of those gone. And that's the right answer. Okay. Now you have just one life left. Just for your information, it works just like any other Who Wants to Be a Millionaire system that I developed in Visual Basic, Java, C#, PowerPoint, even in Excel. So let's check out this and the answer to this one. That's correct. Supposing we intentionally get it wrong, there, you've lost. That means you have to start all over. So what I'll do now is just take you guys straight into Visual C++ development environment, and I'll show you how to put one of these together. So let's go into Visual C++ and start it all over. Okay, we started a new project now, so I click on new project. Let's give it a name. Just call that VCPP Millionaire 1. So that's the very first file I intend to, or that's the name of the file. So click on OK, but make sure you've selected Windows Forms application. Click on OK. Right there, that's your form. So the next thing I would like to do is increase the form. Let's say the width is 1366 by, let's go for 680 or maybe 689. There. Now the next thing is, let's change the back color. Let's change the back color to black, or maybe whatever. Let's go for black. There. Okay, now I need as follows. Let's go to toolbox, and I'll need a picture box. That's my first picture box right there. Move it down. That's where I want it. Okay. Picture box 1. And the next one, I'm gonna make that picture box 2. Just copy this. That's my picture box 2 right here. That's where my layer will be. Okay, just right there. Now I need another picture box. One picture box here. Let's reduce the size of this. 1, 2, and 3. And I need one more picture box here. So I have all my picture box in place. Move that down. Okay. So if I change the color, let me just change the color so that you guys can see all of the picture box. Let's change that to white. Okay, now you can see all my picture box. I intend to just drag this that way. That's fine. Alright, the next thing I'm gonna do now is, let's make sure that's 1. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, the next thing I'll do is to include an image list. Let's look for one image list. Right there, we have an image list there. And right here, I intend to upload all of these images apart from the sound. I'm not going to be using the sound because it's not the sound that I want, so I might as well just do it without sound. Okay, let me import all of those images that I made up earlier in my previous tutorial. So first thing first, let's change this to 24 by 24. No, that should be 256 by 256. And the depth here, let's change it to 24. Okay, Now the next thing is, let's choose images. So let's go to where I have my image right there. Those are all the image. Might as well just select it all. I have all the image in place. Click on open. There they are. Those are all my images. Approximately 24 of those. Right. Let's click on OK. Now that all of the images are in place, okay, maybe let's set this background anyway. We might as well just change the background of that. So let's go for that. Okay, that's fine. But one thing first, let me come here and just change the background of that very one to black. Good. Now I have my first image in place. The second thing I'm going to do now is to use as follows. Let's double click on the form and enter a few lines of code for the other 5 images right here. Let's see, let's go back in there to the form. Let's get some images on board. Okay, but before I continue with the form load event, let me add a couple of components. I'm gonna need 2 labels. Okay, I'm gonna need, that's one label there. Might as well copy. Yes. Yep, I have those 2 labels. So I need one here. That's one here, and the other one I'm going to put that right here somewhere. Okay, and I also need radio buttons. Okay, one radio button there, and let's change the property of this very radio button. Let's change that to appearance. I like the appearance to be button there, and the back color, okay, we want it black. That's alright. And let's change that to false. Then okay, let's also change the style. Let's change that to flat there, and I'm going to copy 4 of those. I actually need 4 of those, so one here, okay, one here, and let's just copy it across. Yeah, right there, and copy it across again, and one more, copy across. So I have all of the radio buttons in place. And that's how my radio buttons are looking right now. I have them in place, and I also have my text, my labels in place anyway. Okay, those are the radio buttons. Let's check out the labels. I should have 2 of those. That's one there, and the second one should be right up there. Let's go for the second one. You should have one here. Yeah, that's it right there. So all of those components are in place. So let's double click on the form itself and enter the following lines of code just to get the images on board. So let's go for picture. Here, picture box 1, and we have an arrow, and go for image equals, that's not images, that's image equals image list 1. Get the arrow in place, then images, and the first image will be image 1 there. So that's for the very first image. If I can just copy, let me copy and change. I need 5 of those. Yeah, there we go. So just change that to image 3, image 4, image 5 here and image 6, picture box 6, sorry. So I have picture box 1, picture box 3, picture box 4, 5 and 6. You might be wondering, why is there no picture box 2? That, let me show you, that is picture box 2 already. I already have an image in there, sorry. That's it, which is the layer. That's the layer. Okay, now that I have all the picture box, in picture box 1 would be for the score counter. So picture box 3, that would be image 17. So if you want to verify that, you can always come here, picture box 3, image 17 would be one of the choice. That's it right there. So I'm going to be using image 17, image 21 and image 23 right there, 23. Okay, so picture box 4 actually is image 19. Okay, alright, so let's go into the code view now. So that will be image 17, image 19, image 21 and image 23 there. Just before I run it, I might as well take care of the radio buttons. Radio button 1, get the arrow in place, checked, equals false. There, let's copy that. Let's repeat the same thing for the other 3 radio buttons. So that's radio button 2, 3 and 4 there. All of those are in place now. So let me show you guys one thing which I forgot. I left that out. Here I have a button, so I can always change the color so that you see the button itself. Instead of black, let's go for something red. That's the button, and I've set the text to 0 right there. Okay, so I'm using it as a counter, that's why it's a 0. And I've also changed the cursor. As a cursor right there, I've changed it to this. Instead of just arrow, I decide to change it to this, so that I know when my mouse is right over it. Okay, let's change the color back to black right there. Good. So the bug, okay, we seems to have an error. Yeah, I think I've left out the semicolons. Alright, that's a mistake. Okay, let's see, this one's alright, so let's give that a try again. Good, that's fine. So run it now, and there, as you can see, I now have all my images in place, but nothing is working here. That is the button right there. Maybe I should move this up a little bit so that you guys can see it right there. That's the button. Okay, and here I have my radio buttons. Here I have a label there, you won't be able to see it. Alright, so let's continue with the coding and get everything else working. So the next thing I'll do now is, let me double click on this and enter as follows. I think that's a bad idea. Maybe I should define the questions first. So here I'm gonna have to enter a function there as private system void, and that'll be for my first question 1. Close that and enter my, okay, that's for this function is for the very first question. So I'm gonna need 15 of those, so let me copy that. So I have 1, 2, 3. Let's change the number. That's 2, 3, and so on. So those functions, I'll be calling those functions in. Yep, I'll call those functions. So the next thing is actually need 15 of those. Let's copy again. Let's take this up so that you can see it. Just paste it right there. I have 4, 5, 6. So I have 7, 8, 9. So let's just pick that up. Okay, now I have all my functions in place with all of the questions. There they are. So I'll be calling them individually. So from function 1 to function 15 right there. Okay, it's not difficult to write, so it's time consuming, but it's not that difficult. Okay, so those are the questions out of the way. Let me do that. Good. And let's just save. We might as well just debug and see what will happen. Okay, that's it. It's successful, but it's not doing anything yet. Okay, that's working fine, but there's one thing I want to do. Maybe we should get that sorted now. We might as well enter a variable there. Int iSlide right there, and let's initialize this. Let's go up right there where it says initialize from right here. Okay, let's initialize that. iSlide equals 0 there. So the next thing I will do now is double click on the button, which is the trigger button right here. Double click on it and enter as follows. So iSlide equals 1. So actually it should be iSlide equals plus 1. Okay, that's uppercase. Right, so that's iSlide. Then I'm going to set the following. So label 2 is empty, radio button 1 to 4 set to false, and they are also visible, and the radio buttons I've also set the color black, while iSlide is now equals to plus 1. Okay, the next thing is we need a switch statement. Okay, now we have our switch statement right there. That is switch statement. First iSlide for case 1, which is question 1, iSlide will be equals to 1, and the button I've now converted it to string. Okay, so here in that case image is image 2, and the button enable is false. I have to enable to make sure that it's false. If you don't get the question, if you don't have an answer, it is going to be false. All of the radio buttons checked is false. The back color is all black. Now we need a zigzag button there to close that up. Okay, now we need case 2, so I can copy that and just change it around. And copy that, paste that in there, change that to case 2, and here that becomes 2, and iSlide becomes 2 right there, and that's 2, That is 2 right there. So what I'll do now is just speed it up and get back to you guys. Now I have all of the keys. Select keys. I have them in place. So let me show case 3 to you. I have case 2, case 3. As you can see, I slide become 3 and the image in this case becomes false. It's exactly the same lines of codes as you see up here. I have image 2 here, that should be image 3, and this is 4. Case 4, that becomes image 5. Case 5, question 5, that's 6. Question 6, image 7. Question 7, image 8. Question 8, image 9. Let's close this so that you can see it. Question 9, image 10. 10, image 11. And the same thing, image 12 for case 11, case 12, image 13. You can see the similarity on all of the codes. 13, image 14. Question 14, image 15. Question 15, case 15, image 16, and that is all. So let's save it. Let's debug it and see. Okay, that's good, it's working fine. So if we run it, you won't see nothing much. So click on this very button there, and that is the very first question. We can't do anything, we can't do much with it. Alright, come back here. Let's open up the form. That's the form. Go to the property and set the start position to center. Okay, that's fine. Now we can debug it again, and right there, that's fine. So the next thing we want to do is double click on this very one here, the very first radio button. Double click on it and enter the following lines of codes. Okay, and enter the following lines of codes. First, let's take it from the top. You see, so if button 1 equals 1 and radio button 1 equals true, then the radio button 1 background becomes gold. That's the color I want it to change to. Then enable this very button becomes true. If button 1 equals 3, the same thing, I want that same thing to apply. And if it's equals to 8, that's it, because I've already set all of my answers in place. 13, if it's 13, that's what I want it to be. Okay, incorrect answers, this is what I want the radio button to do. If it's 10, 11, 14, and the radio button itself equals true. So if all of this button is, if the button is 10, is 10, 11, and 14, and radio button is true, this is what I want the system to do. I like the radio button. I want the radio button to become red. Background equals red. And we're back to image 1. In that case, slide becomes 0. Enable the button, text equals 0, because there's a text 0 on the button. If you don't say, if you can't see it, remember I did show it to you guys. Let's scroll down right here. That's the text equals 0. Let's go back to our code, and the question default back to question 1. The same thing is repeated for this very one as well. I can always combine it, but that will be too long. And the same thing here. That's 6, and I have 7, 15, and 19 as well, and I also have 12 right there. So those are all the wrong answers. So let's take care of the second one, this very one right here. I think that will be radio button 2. Double click on that. With radio button 2, it's exactly the same lines of code that we have in radio button 1, but this time around we change where the right answers are. The right answers include when radio button 1 is 10, when it's 11, 14, 15, and all of the interface of the button becomes, of the radio buttons becomes gold color, something yellowish. That's it right there. If the answers are wrong, so the wrong answer will be when radio button 1 is number 1, number 2, number 3, and radio button, sorry, the button is number 1, number 2, number 3, and the radio button equals true. And this is what will happen. The radio button interface become red, image default back to image 1, iSlide equals 0, button enabled equals true, button text equals 0, and the question default back to question 1. The same thing is applied to button text equals 4, equals 5, 6, and it's true, and radio button equals true. So that is that for radio button 2. Now let's take care of radio button 3. Okay, we're taking care of radio button 3 right now, right there. So exactly the same thing is repeated for radio button 3. Let me show it to you guys. Radio button 3, so just have a look at the codes from here down. Close that, let me save it, close that, and bring it down. It's exactly the same lines of code that was repeated. Take that down one more time. And that's all for radio button 3. From here up here. There. Okay, so let's take care of radio button 4 right now. And with radio button 4, we have the following lines of codes from here. Exactly the same lines of code with radio button 1, 2, and 3. Let's take a good look at it. Let's close this, bring it down. Okay, and take it down again so that you can see it. Seems to be very long lines of code. That's it right here. Okay, that's the end of it. So let's take it back up so that you see it. Alright, now with the bonus or the bonuses, let's come in here, right here, double click on that, and you see that picture box 3. If it's 0 and the image is image 17, else if it's image 18. Okay, there we go. Okay, those are the lines of code. So if the button equals 0, then the picture box will be image 17, image 18, If it's this, all of this becomes false, as you won't be able to see the following. If the button is 1, radio button 1, no, radio button 2, visibility equals false, radio button 4, visibility equals false, and you won't be able to enable picture box 3. Now if the button is 2, the same thing applies. Okay, and that will be for the 50/50. Then if it's 3, the same thing. Let's move it down so that you see the rest of the codes. It's 5, 6, the button is 7, if it's 9, if the button is 8, if it's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, and that's for 50/50. Now click on the other one, which is called the audience. That's it. That's just the lines of code for the audience, from here down here. Now let's have a look at phone a friend. If we phone a friend, we have a text box here that would display the a label that would display, that's the label right there, display the name of the friend that you're calling right here. Okay, the image that we want in this case will be image 22. Image 22 is the image with the X sign for call a friend, and the button, the first one, if the button is 1, Danny is called. If it's 2, let's go for Ma is called. If it's 3, Jerry is called. 4, Ellen is called. King, and so on. Let's take it down. So it is just to do with the names of whoever is called. And Sonny, that reminds me of a very, very big brother, good brother. And here we have Sammy. Maybe I should change this one to Manny. That's another big brother right there. Change that to Manny. Both of them they've passed away. Alright, so I have Sonny, and I have Manny. Let's change this one to, let's change it to Cole, and those are the names of who to call. Okay, maybe change this one to Lucky. Right, so those are the names right there. So if I compile, you can always compile. I think that might be all. Let's just compile it and see. We have an error somewhere, so let's see what the error might be. Then we'll click on that. Okay, we're missing the quotes there. Save that for Manning. Alright, now we compile. I'll run the program again. Okay, click on the button. 2 plus 2, 4. Yeah. 5 plus 2, 7. And let's call a friend. Make it 50. Okay, call a friend. Oh, we're calling Jerry. And now, what did Jerry say? 17. Okay, then let's go for 50/50. 50/50, that is correct. And the next one is correct, followed by that is that's correct, and 66, that is correct. And here we have 28, You guys see that? You see how it works? It's very easy, and you can always do the same thing. But if you have any need for the codes, yes, I don't mind, you can always get back to me with your email, but you must subscribe. If you don't subscribe, don't bother send me an email. I will not send you the codes. I will expect you to subscribe. Just show your own appreciation of what I've done so far. If you don't bother send me an email, please, because I will not get back to you. That's how the program works. I suppose you all enjoyed. For those of you who are my good fans out there, if you love this program and you want a copy of it, please do subscribe, else you will not receive the codes. I suppose you all enjoyed. You all have a nice day now. Bye for now.